Don't forget to turn the lenses off. No worries, man. Already did. Steps ahead of you. Miles and miles ahead of you. So I have not looked at these yet. So let me do some quick little spins. And I say we start here with you. So like I said, Metal Penguin is, just type in bang, exclamation mark critique into chat, and that'll have instructions for you where to send that. And then let me open up this. So a Metal Penguin sent in a character of him and his fiance. He's creating some stylized versions of themselves, which is very cool. And I believe he just mentioned, if I remember correctly, just wanting some general critique. I think it was just in general, nothing too specific. I do have some images of him and his fiance up on my other monitor. Out of respect for him, unless he specifically says it's fine, I'm not gonna import these. Also, it's just easier for me to scroll through a few of these. It'd take me a while to download some of these. So yeah, we'll just kind of do a general overview of some things that I think could be improved upon. And to do that, we're going to be just looking at the 3D form instead of thinking about texture and color and all that jazz. But it looks like you actually do have a texture map on a few of these. So let me make sure that we go down here. Texture map off. Texture map off. Ooh, beautiful. All right, so let's start with our boy here and take a look at, well, you know what, we'll do what we did on the last couple characters, bottom up. So we'll start from the shoes and work our way up. So I think you got some nice, in general, clean forms going on in your shoes. I really like some of this stuff. I'd say that some of these curves feel a little awkward, so like some of this stuff, like it feels a little uncontrolled and unintentional, and I'm not sure if, you know, that is intentional or what, but I would maybe revisit some of this and think about how it does feel unintentional. Also, your shoes feel a little balloony, like they've been inflated a little bit, so it might be worthwhile to try flattening out some of this. What I mean is, if you look at this from the kind of direct on view, see how it's kind of like trapezoidal almost in profile? Whereas I think if you spend a little time... Oh, sorry. I will thank you later. Sorry, we'll take a look at stuff later. I got too much stuff open over here. But thank you for the follow. So yeah. Pull in a little bit on the bottoms of these shoes. I think that'll help these feel a little less balloony. Get them feeling a little bit more controlled, which I don't think would be too hard for you. Got some, like I said, I think there's some clean shapes here. Maybe also, I don't know if I screwed this up or not, but maybe pay attention to how some of these are floating. Yeah, it looks like I didn't screw that up. So some of this stuff is, could use a move brush with backface masking to make sure that that's feeling, you know, attached and integrated, and maybe make it a bit more thin. And you might want to continue this form. I don't know what you're using as a reference, unfortunately, so I don't think you even have anything. In terms of style, this feels like a little weird how it's just short down here, so that might be something you want to play with, like pulling the tag up and maybe getting the laces a little bit higher. I think like the shape of your foot is also balloony, it looks like, which is not a problem. Here, what you could do. Actually, instead of even making a foot, what I would recommend doing is just cutting off your feet. Chop off your feet. And whoop, pulling down an ankle into the shoe, and then it like just disappears into that. And maybe that's kind of what you were going for there already. And was this already hollow, or did I do that? It was hollow. I would try to stay away from hollow stuff for the most part. I think that'll help you out quite a bit as well. But yes, what we got two feet. Okay, no, we got the body. We got the body here. I'm not gonna comment on the body because it's pretty much not seen, minus your hands and neck. So I'm literally just going to delete it for now, and we're gonna look at, so we're working our way up, remember, we're gonna look at our pants next. So the knees feel a little awkward, the form isn't really, oh, we got a floater down here. Whoop. Or maybe I have a floater on my screen. Nope, there's definitely a floater there. Here, hold on. Auto groups, this is how you can get rid of floaters. Run an auto groups operation, it's under polygroups. Control-Shift-click this, see how that little speck went away? I don't know if you guys can see that little speck. And then run a delete hidden. Oh no, it doesn't want to go away. I don't know what that is. Do you have a curve? Curve function delete? Yes, okay, that was a tiny little curve that you had, an excess little curve piece. So, let me reconstruct your subdivs. Cool, and then we'll get back to what we were saying. So the knees feel a little stuck on, especially with like the character wearing jeans. I don't think it would be that exaggerated. So I think you would be fine to smooth a good deal of that out and maybe try to get a little bit more form in your legs. So one thing that we like to pay attention to that's a nice fundamental in terms of creating some nice appealing shapes is thinking about straights versus curves. So you have a tapered shape, that's one of those fundamentals, running down from here. We're getting smaller to larger. So what you might want to do is get a little bit more rounded on one side of your leg. And maybe you can, I'm going to get rid of your little seam down there, sorry, just so I can show this off as well from the profile, so we can start to get some nice curve there as well. So now we're just starting to add some, more form here to essentially make this a bit more visually interesting and also take down the knee a little bit. So here's a perfect example of where I can show how to fake thickness in geometry, because it's very hard to work with stuff that has thickness, I think, especially for people that don't know a lot about a ton of the tool sets in ZBrush. Whoops. So what I would recommend doing is using the move brush with back face masking, closing off holes for your top piece of geometry, and doing the same thing down here. And then, after you do that, just run a Dynamesh. I'll do like a 300 resolution Dynamesh. Now I'll just trim it up. Let's get this a bit more flat. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's never going to be seen. No one's ever going to be able to look up in that pant leg. But if you want a situation in which if it could be seen from a specific angle, what you could do instead of really giving that entire thing thickness is do a quick little mask here. Whoops. Whoops. Hold on. There we go. Soften that mask. And then just push that geometry in. So from this angle, look, it looks like it has thickness. But as we inspect it a little closer, it obviously doesn't. But essentially what you've done is you've created the illusion of thickness for your geometry. So now you have the benefit of having something that's a lot easier to sculpt on without thickness. And thank you for the sub, whoever that was. We'll take a look at all the subs and likes, or subs and follows, or whatever they're called. I twitch in just a moment, but thank you. So yeah, adds a little bit more of this kind of curve here, start to get these feeling a bit better. We'll take a look at chat here in a moment. Let's just kind of get through the whole thing here. Same basic stuff on your shirt. This curve is feeling a little wonky. So let's just kind of move brush, pull this out, and get this feeling just a little bit better for the shape of your rib cage. And this starts to get a little too thick, so we could maybe work on that real quick, just with some quick masking. And it's a little too thin, I think, in the hips. Cool. So just kind of looking again at the most primitive basic shape there. I think that'll help you out a lot. And then up here, as we rotate into the neck hole, I don't know what you would call this. this isn't what we would see in a shirt. Instead, you would see the form kind of flow around the shoulder. You kind of have it pulled up a little bit here. So instead of doing that, you know, just continue the, here, I'll just soften this. That'll probably do it, right? So just like soften this form, and your geometry is not symmetrical here. So it actually feels like it's flowing on the shoulders. And here, I'm gonna delete lower, mirror and weld, there we go. So now that feels like, I think, a lot better with just those few changes. I think you should obviously spend a lot more time on it than I did in like 2 minutes there, but yes, continue on with that. I think some of the stuff that you've done here is nice and clean. I would combine these up. Unless, I think this is supposed to be like the, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. This doesn't feel like anything that I would see on a jacket, so I'd probably blend between these areas. I understand that you made this for the hood, but I would say you're probably good at this point to kind of dynamesh and combine those in. I would really look at this area where your armpit starts flowing up, because this starts to get pulled out really far. So if I push this in a little bit, I think immediately this silhouette for your character reads a lot better. So make sure that you're not getting a lot of these ZBrush type transitions where things are really smooth and feel a little wonky. Try to keep stuff nice and clean and intentional. Same here with your arms. I think the arms are actually fine after those quick few nudges that I made. And then, yeah, I think that's fine. Sure. For your hands, they're just like a little undefined. I would maybe spend a little bit more time on this, actually creating the shape of your palm. There are a great number, I'm sure, of just like base meshes that you can download. There is a brush insert IMM body parts brush. And you can just grab a male hand from this for the basic shape of a palm. And then what I would recommend doing is make one finger and then just duplicate it for the rest of your hand, so you have multiple fingers to work from, instead of just keeping it all as one mesh. It's a little bit more difficult to work with. But these just feel kind of blobby and, you know, unfinished. For your face, let's see. I would say the first thing that I would do is try to refine the shape of your character's jaw. And I think that'll help you out a lot. Same thing here with the skull. As we kind of get down here, I think you're safe to start getting some more volume down here. And kind of cleaning this up. So I'll do both of these at the same time. And then after you get to a point where you're a little bit happier with this stuff, then I would start transitioning the neck into the head. I think that'll help you out a lot. Right now it just feels a little flat from the side. So your mouth is very tiny. It's a little hard to work on. I'm just trying to give a little bit more form here. And it's a little hard to manipulate with it being so tiny. Let's just clean up this jaw a little bit more. So I know that's like a super hard plane change, but very quickly we'll just go back and soften some of that. You got this kind of weird dip in coming down on your jawline. Just fill that in. I think it's just unnecessary. It creates a shadow that doesn't really look super appealing. And then I would think about running a line from the corner of your mouth up to really help think about where some of this volume can live. So get in here and just get a little bit more. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we're starting to feel a bit more solid here. Want that back jaw corner to feel a little bit more defined. I think that's starting to feel a lot better. I would also move your mouth up. It feels awkwardly low. And I saw your images. I know you got a big schnoz. So do I. Don't worry. I'm a part of the Big Nose Club. But it feels too large proportionally with the eyes and mouth. So I would say make the nose smaller and make the mouth larger so that everything kind of fits within the scale that you have here for your ears and eyes and everything else. In terms of the shape of your eyes, I think you've done a wonderful job of creating something that's nice and clean. I would just reassess some of the stuff around the bridge, and in terms of the style that you're aiming for, I think you've created something pretty unique and cool looking. But I think with a little bit more work, you can get these to that next level. Awesome. Brows, lids, I think they're fine. I would probably consider making the lids a part of the head form, and I would also consider not making this transition quite as tight because it feels a little awkward where we're getting that highlight on the ridge of the eye. So maybe that's the only thing that I would do here. Only other thing I should say. So let me see, just like a quick little softening. Yeah, I think that's starting to feel a little bit better. I would probably go softer than this too. Maybe get some more volume up around there. Cool, cool, cool. Make sure we're not getting a weird, awkward point there. Keep that rounded. Awesome, awesome. In terms of your ears, I would also dynamesh those into the face, or just like merge them into the face, however you want to do that. I don't know how precious this topology is to you. But I would also merge the neck into the head and start transitioning that a little bit better. And then in terms of the hair, I think you've done a good job of splitting this up into separate parts to begin blocking it out. But what I would do now is start taking the hair to the next level by combining some of these chunks and like how much merge down. Always okay. Nope, I missed some. Where did I miss them? Whoop. Cool. That everything? I would probably keep these separated. Let me delete subdivs, split. Cool. Dynamesh, and now these are the main areas where it just feels like awkward, where you should transition this a little bit better. So I would start working on those areas. But other than that, great job on these characters. I think you got a lot of cool stuff. I would also start, getting some texture in the hair if you want, or if you're gonna do that texturally. I don't know how you're gonna do that, but again, think about the transitional areas for that. Sorry that was so rough and quick, but I think you get the point. Cool, cool, cool. Let's check on chat, make sure we didn't miss anything, because I believe I did miss quite a few. So first of all, thank you to, come on, chop chop load. Thank you to Hostburn for the follow, and Metal Penguin, who I am critiquing right now. Thank you so much for the subscription, man. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Cool. Make sure we didn't miss anything here in chat. Just made up the shoe. I would maybe try to find a sneaker that you would like to replicate, and I think you'll get a lot closer to the silhouette of the shape that you would like to create. Something a little bit more close to reality. Tatami Chaos, welcome back, dude. Glad you could actually make it for a stream. Been so busy. Well, I'm glad you could make it as well, man. Welcome. I'm doing great. Your fiance died laughing at my comment on the nose. That's all right. My nose. Look, we're all part of the big nose club. No, maybe not all of us, but I am as well. First sub I've ever done. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Cool. Let's check out what we got going on here. Unfortunately, these are split up quite a bit. And let me do a Subtool Master high res visible. So that'll combine, or that'll take all your subtools and make them on the highest resolution so I can see the actual form. All right, cool. Well, I think I'll say the same things that I basically said moving up from the bottom to the top of your character. I think it's all pretty much the same. One thing I would say, Your girlfriend's butt might, or your fiance's butt, I guess she is technically your girlfriend, right? Your fiance's butt might be this big, but remember that if you're going to create a large butt, you need to have a large leg to support that form. So I think you've overdone some of this. So what I'm going to do is go into T-pose mesh, which is just transpose master. And what we're going to do is work on all of your geometry at once. I know my butt's not that big. I have a nice flat booty, but you know, I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is just do a quick mask. I think it doesn't look super great, but the main thing that happens is it makes your character feel very off balance, and really just moving that in a little bit makes it feel a lot more structurally sound. I'll do a little bit more, I think, just one more mask and pull in. And what I would also do, because your character is wearing pants, I would transition between the cheek here and the pant leg, or the short leg, a little bit more. And it just kind of feels a little stuck on right now. It's a little hard for me to transition this while in transpose master, and I apologize for that. Same thing up here, defying gravity and such. How can I select all this geometry? Whoops, let me turn off perspective. Whoop. These are very nice. This is cool. You've done a good job with these. It's fun. I like it. All right, so mask, and then let me hide this. Sorry, I'm just trying to make a good selection here so that we can show this correctly. I don't want this selected now. I've changed my mind. All right. So same thing, same note as the butt. Feeling very off balance and just kind of moving that in a little bit will help that to feel a little bit better. Cool, cool, cool. And I'm just gonna do an egregious, disgusting little squash to put that back into place. And I'll just like move it up. Sure. Sorry I kind of broke everything there, but I think you get the point of what I'm trying to make here. And then as well, here, we'll go out of T-pose so I can show this a little bit more. I want you to focus on transitioning some of these areas a little bit better. So right now, the silhouette break that we're getting here just feels a little awkward. So we'll give that a second to T-pose. Struggled a lot with the mouth. No worries. We will take a look at that in just a moment. Got a lot of parts in here. 12 million polys. You could probably lower that quite a bit. But let's see. All right. So transitioning some of these shapes, I think is something that you could work on. Whoa, hold on. Pen's broken. Give me a sec. There we go. And I know you're using a mouse, so it's going to be a little bit. You mentioned that you're using a mouse. Get a cheap Wacom bamboo tablet, or if you have the ability, maybe grab an Intuos. Those are very nice. And like I said, all those are just as effective as what I'm using. It's just about preference. All right, cool. Let's talk about face. So I can obviously tell that you struggled with the mouth. There's a lot of unappealing form happening here, and it's just a little bit messy. And I know you can do a lot better job than this, so let's take a look at how we can improve upon this. I'll say the exact same thing that applies to your last character I would do here in terms of filling in the form around this eye cavity a little bit to soften that transition. I think that'll help you a lot to get away from that like super hard pinch right here. And I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but really it's not too far off from what I just exaggerated. It's pretty close. So what I want you to do, goodbye lips. I'm just gonna smooth those out really quick and get rid of them. So you're being very representative here, and I think we've talked about this in a few other critiques, but you know, you understand that obviously the lip has this like Cupid's bow shape and this lower swoop, but what we want to do is really find some good reference that we can look at to represent this well. And luckily you have the real thing right in front of you, so you have some great reference. And I think what I would do is first get these lips not feeling so flat. They're feeling really kind of stuck on, like you cut a hole in the surface of your geometry. And I'm just gonna fill in some of this form a little bit, coming down from the corners of the lower lip. And then what I want to do next, we're just getting like in feminine faces, we typically don't have. I was looking at the references you sent before. I don't think the lines around here are going to be this strong unless she is smiling, and this is just true for, oh, my pen keeps breaking. This is just true for most younger characters. So I would say really pay attention to the planes here. Try not to let that get like super strong because it starts to feel very awkward very fast. And let's do a quick pinch around here. And I'll just kind of shape up these lips a little bit better. And to do that, what I would recommend you do is, ooh, you got some polygroups here, lots of crazy ones, but that's okay. I'm just going to use these polygroups to select just your lower portion of your mouth. Okay? And I'm just going to polygroup this. Sorry, I'm messing up everything, but just to make it easier for me to work on right now. So move back face masking, I'm going to add some thickness to that lower lip, inverse my mask, do the same thing. So move brush with back face masking on. If you've never used it before, it's in brush, auto masking. Yeah, brush, auto masking, I think that's all. Thought there was more, I don't think there is. Brush, auto masking. So getting some more thickness in there is going to help you. And then pay attention, I think the character here is, the style that you're going for is so simple. I don't think you need to get as crazy as you were getting with your character's mouth. So I would just simplify it, you know? Get something like what I've done here. And instead of focusing so much on the lips, focus more on the form around it. What's going on here? Why can't I sculpt here? I see. So I'm having trouble sculpting on the corner of your mouth because your mouth bag is not doing you any favors. So what I would do is get in here. We're gonna fix this really quick for you. Show you how to at least. And you even have a polygroup set up for this, so that makes it easy. You can just mask that off, and then I would just smooth this out. I would hold shift and then let go of shift and keep smoothing, and that'll help clean that up. It's a little bit of a different algorithm, and it helps to get rid of those tight creases. It helps normalize your surface a little bit. And now, I'll even use my move brush and pull that in a little bit. Your mouth bag doesn't really need to be this big. It can be like half this size, or even smaller. But now, I should be able to sculpt here without any problems. Cool. So the reason I knew that was happening was because I couldn't sculpt in that area, which meant that the brush was sampling the geometry that was on the other side of your mouth. So I had to just move that away real quick, and that should help you out. So we'll be a little careful here as we pay attention to our most basic shape, focusing on rounding out the form. Again, I like the style that you have going on with these. I think you can just kind of tighten up. Like I said, same things are going to apply here to the that I mentioned on the male character. Tighten up your jawline just to kind of really define where that is. But then after you figure that out a little bit, you can go back through and soften that. You just want to make sure that you know where this form is transitioning, and then you can get a little bit softer. Let's see. Pull in a little and soften that up. It just makes things feel a little bit more concrete, in my opinion. And cool. All right, now that we've worked on the shape around our mouth a little bit, your lower lip is wider than your upper lip, which is just not how lips work, which is fine. I just want to get a little bit more accurate to what we might expect rule-wise. Lower lip is always hits after the front lip or top lip, so top if you draw a plane out. Top first. Come on, top and then bottom. Pull those corners in, probably get more thick in the lips. Honestly, I don't think I beefed it up enough. That's fine. Just do that really quick. And let's kind of work on some of this shape here. Honestly, the no man's land between your lip and your nose feels really awkward, and I know it's kind of just the style that you have here going on, but typically that gap is a lot smaller. So typically in these style of characters, we see a lot larger mouths, and I would say you might want to experiment, much like what I said with your male character, decreasing the size of your nose and increasing your mouth size. I think the same thing is applicable here. I think making that mouth a lot larger and working on the surrounding form a little bit more will help you out. But other than that, I think you got pretty much the same stuff going on from your other character that you can work on. I think you got some good stuff going on in these, and I wish you luck moving forward. But good job, man. Good job on these. You got some good stuff going on. And I think with a little bit of extra work, like I said, you can take them to the next level. And I look forward to seeing them when you are all done. Cool, cool, cool. You had to fix the mouth in Photoshop in the final render. Well, we don't want to do that. We're not cheaters. Come on, we can fix the 3D. Yeah, I think you can still get like the shape of the cheek there kind of being a little bit more rounded. It's just like a little blocky, and I think just kind of refining the shape around here a bit more will get you to that next stage. But cool, man. Again, wish you luck on it, and I can't wait to see what you do next.